Stevie Ray Vaughan or Jimi Hendrix? Pizza or burgers, right? It's hard to choose between two great things. It's kind of like having to choose between saving a bass player from hanging out your window and falling to his doom, or, you know, not doing that. You know, on the one hand, I could save this bass player, but on the other hand, I could simply go about filming this video. Anyway, I noticed something the other day. I had a classic rock blues station playing and Red House by Jimi Hendrix came on. And then right after that song, Texas Flood by Stevie Ray Vaughan came on, which was great. Bethany then said something very interesting.
This is a long song.
This is a different song. Bethany! I think she got her mind blown. I gotta call somebody. Hello. I think there's something wrong with my wife. She heard that two songs were very, very similar and it blew her mind. I'm coming to the hospital right now. By the way, can you send an ambulance to my house? I think there may be a wounded bass player in my backyard. I'm not sure though. I returned to my laboratory and I discovered the source of my dear wife's dismay and confusion. These two songs are nearly identical. Of course, you can't copyright harmony, and both of these songs sound similar because they share the same sort of harmony. I've pitch shifted both of these songs so you can listen to these licks all in the same key. But the thing about these vocal licks and these guitar licks is that they're bluesy, and those are the hardest kinds of licks and melodies to copyright because pretty much every blues singer or blues guitar player has played or sung the exact same lick. But this revelation about Texas Flood and Red House unearthed a new perspective. One that we can use to compare these two GOAT guitar players back to back in a manner that I think is really, really fun and educational. Let's begin. First thing to examine is how Hendrix and Stevie Ray Vaughan play the same exact lick. If you listen closely, you can hear the dying bend, and that indicates that it is a bend. Kind of like dies there at the end. You gotta listen to it closely. That is Hendrix's MO, his slightly out of tune bends. That's where the money is. You really get that digging in. Full bend, Stevie Ray Vaughan and Hendrix, the two differences. One is their time. Stevie Ray Vaughan's always right on the downbeat. And Stevie Ray Vaughan's bends are always perfectly in tune. Hendrix, on the other hand, slightly behind and in front of the beat. And as such, Hendrix has a little bit of pitch variation purposefully in his bends. Yeah, this guitar can get a Hendrix sound too. And it's interesting to hear how Stevie Ray Vaughan is much more aggressive, whereas Hendrix is a little bit more delicate. And you could say that's just the dynamic of the song, but I think it's pretty apt to look at Stevie Ray Vaughan as more aggressive player and Hendrix is more of like a creamier player as far as the tone goes. I'm not talking about the actual playing, but like the tone is always a little bit more velvety with Hendrix, and maybe that's the fuzz talking. But SRV, you can really hear that finger shaking on the neck. Now the departure from this platform is really endless. So we have different approaches from two different GOAT guitar players. Hendrix takes this approach after this launching. Oh, my face! I melted my own face with that one. We start off at here. And then we come up to, so we've reached this height, but the zenith, and you hear how that harmonic just sort of blooms when you hit it right now. Ooh, oh man, I just love that lick. That's probably, no, it's not my favorite one in this song. That's at the end of this video. Oh man, just shows the flexibility of this. Sort of like, hey, I play guitar too, guys. I'm gonna say something different though. And that is really Stevie Ray Vaughan's thing, those perfectly in tune bends, as I mentioned. And then I just love this little lick. And that's a little Stevie Ray Vaughan thing that, like, you know, those little pull-offs down the minor pentatonic. You can do it in like a little bit more modal stuff. that just has all the sauce in it. It has this kind of major sound. No, that's not in the minor pentatonic scale. We normally have this flat 7, but it's a major 6 instead of a minor 6, so that's minor. That's major, as you can hear. So combining these minor and major, and then that minor, like with the flat 5, and there's the major 3rd. So all sorts of mixing minor and major right here from Hendrix, and it's just masterful, man. Now, Stevie Ray Vaughan, completely different swagger, same amount of style. So this is right out of the school of SRV. Everybody should learn this lick, just no matter what. You know, sometimes people are like, don't learn people's licks verbatim, learn your own licks and make your own sound. This is one you should try and get very close. At least this little initial hammer on. You can do what you want on the descent, but coming up, there's just one SRV sound that you gotta get down. It sounds like this. So again, we're based in this wheelhouse, but instead of sliding up here, we are actually, so we're coming up to that octave. But here's where it gets spicy. So as you can see, it's right in this little chromatic window here. That's what I would practice first. Oh wait, that was the ending of the first lick. That's the end. Let's move on. Now as we move on to licks that sort of depart from one another, these are like the signature staple licks of these two respective guitar performances, and this is a lick that you gotta just kind of get down. I mean, it's something like that, right? But you get the vibe here, the pull off. And you can also play it like this. This bar here, I think actually Hendrix is playing it like this. The phrasing is so tough. I mean, that is just so Hendrixy. It's really difficult for me to get exactly right. Sometimes I get it when I'm just like jamming through along with the song, but you know, it's okay to make it a little bit your own if you kind of have the stank on the end of it. So, ooh, what was that little? That sounded like a little Stevie Ray Vaughan thing. I think I'm getting these two guitar styles mashed up. So this sound is more exactly what I just said, a sound. You don't necessarily have to learn this lick, but I picked this up from Stevie Ray Vaughan. It's a little bit different than how Hendrix navigates the minor pentatonic down here in A. It's about this chromatic note, this flat 5. When I learned that I could do that instead of sticking in the minor pentatonic, I could access this flat 5. I was like, oh, that sounds so much cooler. You can put it in, you know, E. Caution while attempting this lick, as it is a Stevie Ray Vaughan staple. We're gonna move also to the bridge pickup on your Strat in our E flat tuning, and I think we're gonna start right here on the 13th fret of the B, and we end up at the 17th fret. So a two-step bend, and then coming down to the major 3rd, minor 3rd. And the key is to really get it to sound like a cat. Yeah, you gotta make that face. That's the only way I've found that it really works, and I'm doing a little pinch harmonic there. Do whatever you want, make it sound like a dying cat in an alleyway. Or no, not dying, fighting cats in an alleyway. A squealing cat auditioning for an opera. That's a happy thought. Finally, comparing these two guitar players, like, ending licks of the entire songs. This is just kind of a great turnaround lick to take from each of these guys. This is the one I picked for Hendrix. Feels major because it's over this E dominant 7, but it's really just right out of that pentatonic sound. That is just a wonderful way to end a blues phrase, a blues song, a masterpiece. How would Stevie end it? This is SRV doing his Hendrix interpretation. I really think Texas Flood might be an ode to Red House in all secrecy. We'll never know truly, but I think this is a little homage to Hendrix. I mean... Hope you enjoy, and until next time, keep shredding.